Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Micah just checking in. I know it's been a while since I've been able to do a video. I've been a little busy, so I definitely apologize for those who are supporting me and watching these videos. But I'm going to do another update as far as my progress up to this point in my building phase and thoughts around my contest prep. So it is getting closer and closer to the end of the year, and I really wanted to talk about my plans going forward. But you know, a lot has been going on these last few weeks. I would say the biggest things is I really have tested my if it fits your macros or flexible dieting approach. You know, as far as I took a couple days and went up to Seattle with my wife. Didn't take any Tupperware free, and just took some, you know, protein powder and some rice cakes just in case I needed to fulfill some carbs and protein at the end of the day. But other than that, I was able to get my foods, you know, within the confines of the city. And we're able to go to Pike's Place. We're able to visit, you know, if you're familiar with the movie Sleepless in Seattle, we were able to eat at that restaurant where Tom Hanks and his best friend are talking about getting back into the dating scene. But, you know, I was able to, you know, get a lot of my food, a lot of my macros within going out and tracking it appropriately with what I was getting. And, you know, I knew that my fat grams were going to be really taken care of, just because when you typically go out, it's really hard to keep it low fat. So that's why I just mainly took, you know, rice cakes and some Pringles and some protein powder just to get my carbs and my protein just in case. My carbohydrates were at 550 grams of carbs, 205 grams of protein, and about 75 grams of fat. So that's typically where I run. So Seattle was definitely a fun trip. Just a couple days in Seattle. I mean, we live in Tacoma, so it's really not that far, but I typically don't go to Seattle just because of the traffic. It's just kind of a nightmare to be up there for one day. So we spent a couple days there, and it was really enjoyable. And plus, I didn't have to worry about my food and trying to warm that up, you know, like I usually did, you know, if it fits your macros. So very successful. I guess the second day it was pretty tough. I was running low on protein and carbs, so I actually went and got some teriyaki chicken. I got a lot of rice. I went and got some sushi, and kept it relatively low fat. So definitely can be done. You know, it would have been more interesting if my macros are lower and while going out, but you know, it is what it is. When I'm in my building phase, I got a lot more things to work with. And then, so that was successful. I actually went to Baltimore a couple weeks ago, and I went to do a health fair at Johns Hopkins Medical Center for the program that we're representing for them for weight loss, weight management, and that was really exciting as well. I mean, I got to meet a lot of great people. I got to, you know, promote our program, but also, you know, I was just able to keep up with my macros as well. I mean, it was the same macros. I basically did the same thing. I took some protein, I took some rice cakes, took some Pop-Tarts, I took some bagels, just in case I wasn't able to get my carbs and my protein in for the day. And I took my scale. My food scale was a necessary traveling item while I was gone, and it was exciting. I was able to get all my food in, and I was able to even eat at an Italian restaurant that was off the chain, right by the waterfront in Baltimore, and that was amazing. And I was still able to track everything. I kept everything relatively low fat throughout the day because I knew I was going to go to some place that was going to be amazing, so I wanted to keep my fat grams pretty low and have some flexibility in there. So everything was a success. You know, even while traveling, I think that's the biggest thing, is if you have a long flight, is being able to eat enough food, you know, because you're kind of working backwards when you're going on the East Coast. You don't have that many more hours of the day, and so I had to eat, you know, a Subway sandwich. I had to eat like a lot of food within that airplane trip, you know, and so, but a very successful run. As far as keeping my macros in check while I was away. And I think that was a true testament that I've come a long way with my nutrition, and I'm very excited about that. The other thing was mainly my training. I was able to work out while in Seattle, and I was able to work out while in Baltimore. I mean, they really took care of us when we were in Baltimore and hooked us up with a nice gym. There were some strict rules within that gym, but I was able to get a good workout for pool hypertrophy day, basically. And my training is actually changed up. I actually went from German volume training at the beginning of the week to 5x5, and that's been really helpful. I think going from German volume training, which is 10x10 with the compound lifts, really helped with my technique, my form. And now that I'm at 5x5, I'm able to push a lot more weight, but I'm able to control the weight. I'm not breaking form. My technique is, really improved. So I'm really excited with the improvements that I've been able to make with strength. But, that's not really the main point. But the idea is to be able to do the exercise correctly, with proper technique, and be able to maximize my muscle growth and fire off those fast twitch muscle fibers from rep 1. And so that's been really helpful. I've been doing that for the last couple weeks. My macros are still the same. My weight is actually at 172, 171, so it's about 16, 17 pounds above stage weight, about 17 weeks into the off season or the building phase. And so that's a pretty good gain. I mean, it's about 7 pounds above my maintenance weight, and it's 16, 17 pounds above my last stage weight. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Weight has stayed stable for the last couple weeks. I really don't want to increase food. I'm kind of tired of eating a lot of food. And I know that sounds kind of silly, because people generally, when I tell them how much food I'm intaking, it's roughly around 36 to 3,700 calories, and people are like, man, I wish I could eat that much. But in my reality, I really don't like eating that much. I could be pretty happy about, roughly around 28 to 30,000 calories and be pretty comfortable. But that's really not the name of the game. I really want to try and build as much as possible. And even though the weight has stayed somewhat consistent and stayed the same the last couple weeks, I'm not worried about that at this point. I know I'm getting stronger. I know that my technique is getting better, and my movements are, definitely improved, and I think that's a byproduct of muscle growth too. I mean, I think that's a testament that what I'm doing is correct. My clothes still fit pretty well, like as far as around the waist. You still got the bodybuilder problems where the legs feel a little tight because your legs are bigger and your width is a little bit bigger, so my button-down shirts typically don't fit me anymore. But that's kind of the name of the game. As far as plans moving forward into contest prep, I have thought about dropping my macros just initially in the beginning of November, just to kind of give my body a break a little bit from eating all this food. And I know initially that's going to maybe drop some weight, and then really attack it from December. That's the name of the game. Give myself roughly 20 to 24 weeks to prep for April show, and I'm pretty excited about it. I know that I've made some good gains as far as growth, and my plan is to continue on the road with lifting as heavy as I can for the compound lifts, and do some real good volume, high volume repetitions, bodybuilding splits throughout the rest of the week. And as long as I keep my strength up as much as possible, I know that I'm retaining a lot of my muscle. But as carbs get lower throughout the prep, obviously that's going to change with how much strength I'm able to upkeep during that drops. But that's just a little bit about where I'm at with my training. I definitely apologize for not upkeeping with the videos weekly. It's just been a lot of craziness as far as trips and my work and my training, and just trying to balance everything out. I think that's the biggest thing too, is just finding a balance of where your time is spent. And I think luckily I've been able to spend a good time with my wife, because once contest prep happens, that focus tends to shift, and it's really hard to keep that balance. But I'm very confident in being able to make that progress each time I prep, and kind of keep conscious of what I'm doing. day to day, so that I can still keep that relationship strong as I'm going throughout the process. And she's been really helpful with being supportive throughout the process, and I appreciate my wife and continually supporting me, within the realm of my preps, especially because it doesn't get easier throughout a prep. It gets harder and harder, and so it's always good to have that support system up and running as you're doing that. And so I'm really excited. One of the people I've been helping, and she's competed in NPC shows, but she really wants to compete in a natural show. So she's actually I'm pretty sure she's going to compete in the same show I'm doing in April. So I'm excited because when you train with somebody, when you're training somebody and they're doing the same show as you, it's really exciting because you guys can keep aware of you guys' situations and kind of help with that support system as well, even at work, because she works with me. So it's really helpful in that realm to have super support all across the board, and kind of keep accountability as well, and keep our emotions in check, because we know that goes out the window as you get lower and lower in body fat and things start getting a little crazy. So I'm really appreciative. I'm really excited to see her progress on stage. I know she's been anxious. She's been building for the past year. She took a year off to do this, to be able to make the gains and the progress that she wanted. And so it's going to be exciting to kind of, as she transitions into prep, that to be able to see all the work and all the the hard work that she's put into it. So that's kind of an update for where I'm at, and the person that I've been training as well for the past year. But more to come as far as videos. But if you have comments, if you have suggestions, please leave them in the comments box, and I will address them in my next videos. But I'm really excited to just keep going with the videos, and I think it's going to get a little bit more exciting as I enter contest prep, because week to week things may change, and that's when it does start getting exciting as far as my posing, as far as my body fat, my physique changing throughout the process. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of tired of eating a lot of food, so it'll be interesting to see how my macros change throughout the process. But other than that, definitely appreciate all your support, and definitely leave some comments below so I can address them in my follow-up videos. Thanks for all your support, and have a good one. Bye-bye.